Hello, and thank you for joining us for this presentation on our plans for redeveloping Ripon Barracks into a new mixed-use development called Clotherholme. My name's Marie Cadell, and I'm Homes England's Project Director for the redevelopment of the site. Our plans have been developed in partnership with the Defence Infrastructure Organisation, or DIO, who are acted on behalf of the site's current owner, the Ministry of Defence. The DIO is represented on today's session by my colleague, James.
Thanks, Marie. My name is James Riley, and I am a Principal Estate Surveyor with the DIO. We are the Ministry of Defence's estate expert, and this project has come about following the 2016 announcement that as part of the Defence Estate Optimisation Programme, Ripon Barracks will be closing, with the relocation of our armed forces to other sites. This frees up valuable brownfield land on the edge of Ripon that can be redeveloped for a range of uses, including homes, employment and business uses, recreation and community uses, and necessary infrastructure. We understand how important this development is for Ripon, how passionate the residents and community groups are about the development, and about making sure we get it right. We're also really pleased that the project has support from local stakeholders, including Harrogate Borough Council, North Yorkshire County Council, as well as the York, North Yorkshire and East Riding Local Enterprise Partnership.
So for today's session, it's going to focus on providing some more detail on what we're proposing for Clotherholme, explaining how our plans have changed since our public events last year. This agenda shows the key topics we're going to cover. We had hoped to be holding further events to showcase our updated plans, but in light of the restrictions in place as a result of COVID-19, we've had to take a fully online approach. Nevertheless, if you'd like any of this information in a different format, please do get in touch using the contact details on the website and at the end of this presentation. This presentation is designed to complement information boards that can also be found on the scheme website, and where relevant, we will make reference to these boards where you can find the plans in a bit more detail. So what have we done since those events in October last year? We had intended to submit an outline planning application for our proposals at the end of 2019, but as a result of the level of local interest, it was clear we needed to work closer with the community to refine our proposals to ensure we had the right solution for the site. This has required us to do some more technical work and carry out further engagement with the community. This further engagement has been invaluable, and now with local information and knowledge shaping the master plan, we intend to submit the outline planning application this summer. This will be an outline application, which means we are only seeking permission from the planning authority for the principle of developing the site for a mixed-use development, while seeking detailed permission for the points of access. Detailed approval for all other parts of the development will be sought through future reserved matters planning applications. This will include detailed approval for the design and layout of the homes, shops, business premises, school, the community facilities, and detailed approval for how Laver Banks will work. This slide shows some key components of our proposals: a local centre with retail, community and commercial facilities, the open spaces at Laver Banks, a primary school, sports facilities, new homes, and improved pedestrian and cycle links. The Ripon Barracks site is unique, offering great opportunities for Ripon. We are committed to continuing to engage with the local community so we can ensure we are creating a development that is fit for purpose and high quality, leaving a befitting legacy for the people of Ripon. I will now hand over to Jay Cherie, who will detail the benefits Clotherholme will provide for residents old and new.
Thank you, Marie. I'm Jay Cherie and I'm Senior Planner at Homes England. Our aim has always been to ensure Clotherholme is an asset for Ripon, providing facilities and opportunities to serve the needs of new and existing residents. We've listened carefully to the feedback we've had from existing residents and also from community groups, and we've drawn on the knowledge of our consultants to refine our proposals as we move forward. We think this is a once-in-a-lifetime development for Ripon, and a reoccurring theme from the engagement is for Clotherholme to be sustainable and to meet the needs of future generations. As a result, sustainability has been a common thread throughout our work, guiding the master plan and detailed design work as we've moved forward. We want our proposals to be sustainable in every sense of the word, from protecting the environment and ensuring that the development responds to the changing needs of the population and how they might live and work in the future. A key characteristic of Clotherholme is its spaces and natural landscapes. Our work to date has shown that people are keen to see these enhanced, which is what we are proposing to do. Our current proposals see over half of the site for green space, and we're providing 10% net gain biodiversity across the site through enhanced woodlands and also the river valley and existing habitats. We are also creating substantial biodiverse corridors across the site. There will be small parks and gardens and play spaces for children and allotments that will boost the self-sustainability of Clotherholme and help bring communities together. Our proposals for Clotherholme are designed to mitigate the effects of climate change. As far as possible, we are looking to deliver a low carbon development that minimises the use of resources such as water and energy during construction and also at the end of the development. All buildings will be built to energy efficiency standards, and where possible they will be orientated so that they gain solar gain. There will also be high quality recycling and composting facilities to minimise waste from the site. There will be a range of important facilities on the site to reduce the need for people to travel off-site. The local centre will house the majority of these facilities, and this will be important for Clotherholme as it will form the heart of the community. It will support working, learning, socialising and relaxing, and it will have a 2-form entry school and a range of flexible employment and community spaces. Subject to the type of local demand, these uses could include GP practices, cafes, grocery stores and theatre spaces, and the potential for other retail opportunities. These will benefit existing residents and new residents, and they'll also reduce the demand on schools and medical facilities elsewhere in Ripon. We also want to create a healthy and active community supporting both physical and mental wellbeing. For the ageing population, we'll provide a number of extra care and supported living close to the local centre and close to the amenities where people can access them, and this will also reduce the chance of people becoming lonely and isolated. We will also encourage physical activity, building on the sporting legacy of the barracks by providing nearly 7.5 hectares of sports pitches with changing facilities. Current restrictions related to COVID-19 have highlighted the importance of green spaces and open space more than ever before. In addition to sports pitches and other landscape enhancements, we will also be converting Laver Banks to a country park that people who live in Ripon can use. A further realisation brought about by COVID-19 is the importance of our homes for downtime and for working and for schooling. Clotherholme will be future-proofed so that it responds to the evolving ways of working, particularly for home working. And there will be access to facilities including flexible workspaces within walking distance of homes and good digital connectivity across the whole site. Thank you. I'll now hand over to Becky, who will cover how we propose to create a sense of place for Clotherholme and how it might look and feel.
Thank you, Jayshree. My name is Becky Mather and I'm a Design Director at ACOM and part of the consultant team with IDP. Throughout our discussions with local people and key community groups, we've heard clear messages about what Clotherholme should feel like as a place and crucially also what it should not. We heard messages such as the development should be the best of rural and urban lifestyles. This should not be a housing estate. This place should be of Ripon and the development needs to add to Ripon, not take away from it. This has been invaluable feedback and we believe Clotherholme can be a place we can all be proud of. I'm now going to briefly discuss some ways in which we try to embrace what you said in our proposals. In particular, we've structured our approach around 4 key principles. Democratisation. We need to make a place for everybody with a well-balanced mix of uses and a thriving community hub. Decarbonisation. Designing for less reliance on energy-hungry activities is imperative. This includes obvious and well-connected walking and cycling routes, integrated infrastructure for more sustainable modes of transport like electric cars and e-bikes, buildings that are orientated to make the best use of solar gain to heat and cool our homes, and additional trees planted to enhance our environment. Digitisation. We must embrace the new normal as something that offers opportunities to lessen our impact on the environment. This could include things like working from home or local hubs and businesses which offer places to work and learn close to home. And of course, we'll all expect access to superfast broadband and good connectivity for everyone. Decentralisation. Putting good quality community facilities in reach and under the control of local people should be a key consideration in any new mixed-use development. We're aware that to make Clotherholme part of Ripon, we need to understand its relationship with its surroundings. Clotherholme is settled on the edge of Ripon, close to the historic city centre, which is characterised by its attractive architecture. It also benefits from a location in beautiful open countryside and next to wild waterside areas around the River Laver. Since the end of last year, the team has undertaken further character study work and liaised with the neighbourhood plan writers and Harrogate Borough Council's heritage officer to ensure that our proposals reflect the nuances of character that local people acknowledge as important. To be of Ripon, the development will acknowledge these and reflect these and arrange them in a way which is both 21st century and in keeping with the local character. As well as looking at the wider context, it's also important that we distill elements of place from the existing site. The site itself reflects nearly 100 years of military activity. As you'd imagine, the layout is very uniform and set to an efficient grid, yet there are differences across the barracks. Deverell has tightly laid out World War II barracks huts, and Claro is more expansive with sweeping areas of hard standing and larger scale workshop buildings. Within the grid layout, the site comprises a series of stepped plateaux cut into the sloping landscape. It also features regimented roads, with many flanked by trees creating well-established avenues. The most distinctive and memorable of these is Chatham Road, a long straight street cutting north-south through the site. There are several significant military spaces settled into the layout. The two most historically relevant are the parade grounds at Deverell and Claro, around which key buildings and spaces are established. To the south of Clotherholme Road, the character ever changes, becoming dramatically less formal in Laver Banks, which is more wild and is currently a training area covered in rough grass, scrub and woodland. The good tree cover gives a sense of remoteness and enclosure, a character which is far removed from the urban areas close by. The existing landscape features and the opportunity to create new ones in the scheme gives us the ability to create a varied and unique landscape character. Pulling this together to develop the right character for Clotherholme is an important part of Homes England and DIO's commitment. As landowners and master developers here to help deliver every home, this is without question one of the most important elements to get right. Our approach has been to create a structural framework using locally distinctive site features. The ones we have focused on are the efficient and regimented layout of the barracks, i.e. the grid layout, the distinctive streets and spaces created by historic uses, i.e. the engineering training focus reflecting the barracks' military history, the network of green corridors strongly tied to the tree avenues, and Laver Banks. Into this structure, we have created a new character areas that reflect the military character of the barracks, an urban character reflective of unique features in the city centre, an urban edge character acknowledging the importance of key streets and parades in the town, and the character of the rural villages. These characteristics will be embedded in the detailed designs as they come forward. To make it clear what we expect where from developers, we have defined 6 character areas. Deverell is the first to be developed. Here we will build on the uniformity and regularity of the historic barracks layout. The architectural style will also borrow from the materials and be reflective of the current military huts, using simple treatments carefully arranged in combination to create a memorable place. The parade ground is picked out strongly in this layout through the position of buildings and streets. The next area is Clotherholme Road character area. This is more typical of the Victorian layout in the city and is the area which ties in most strongly with the layout of the existing properties along Clotherholme Road. New buildings are set back in keeping with the existing property, but as you pass into the development, instead of individual gardens, a strong green corridor is formed, creating a distinct approach to the development. The neighbourhood hub is the heart of the village and the most urban part of Clotherholme. The design looks to the character of the city centre for references, including typical yards and spaces to create an interesting and vibrant village centre. Kirkby Rise is the highest part of the site and has the most area of mature trees outside Laver Banks. It sits sensitively into the slope and has a semi-urban feeling with an informal layout. Architecturally, the buildings will be in keeping with the local villages. Claro is the last and largest area for development. Again, we're seeking to celebrate the military uniformity and create a more urban character. In contrast to Deverell, however, the layout is less tightly set out and new green corridors throughout the whole area introduce informal green spaces based on the less manicured qualities of Laver Banks. Laver Banks itself is largely unchanged. It remains a wild and wooded area crisscrossed with informal paths and will be crossed by a wide and well-lit foot and cycle path along which there will be access to different types of sports. So how are we going to ensure good quality is delivered over the 15 years it will take to build Clotherholme? A design guide will be included as part of the outline application. This guide will reflect the elements we've spoken about here and will provide requirements to developers on the expectations of quality along with illustrations of the desired look and feel of the whole development. As master developers and landowners, Homes England and the DIO have committed to deliver the contents of the design guide, and this document will be part of the package of information developers will be scored against in their tenders. I'm now going to pass over to David, who's going to tell us more about the provision of green space on the site.
Thank you, Becky. I'm David Rowlandson, a town planner from Homes England. I will be talking to you about green space. The development will provide a tremendous amount of different types of green spaces, covering half of the 86-hectare site. That's an area roughly the size of 80 football pitches. This will benefit new Clotherholme residents through the creation of an attractive place to live, whilst also providing new opportunities for Ripon as a whole. The opening up of the wider site creates newly accessible green spaces for the public on land which was previously fenced off for military uses and therefore inaccessible. Our aim is both to preserve and enhance the site's environment through an integrated approach to landscape, environment, ecology and playing pitch provision. We will do this through the retention of high quality environments and existing trees to retain character and functionality, while strengthening green corridors which will connect the site and provide linkages to key features and the wider landscape. Playing pitch provision will be increased, with access to more informal green spaces throughout the site, forming part of the wider recreational offer, which includes a country park. Ensuring the provision of a strong playing pitch and recreation offer was one of the key drivers in the updated master plan in response to questions raised during previous engagement. We've worked closely with Harrogate Borough Council and considered the views of various community groups when further developing our plans. We are proposing to locate the majority of playing pitches in the functional and well-connected cluster on Laver Banks, with potential for parking, changing and clubhouse facilities just off Clotherholme Road. Further playing pitch provision will be located nearby at the primary school, and the use of these assets will be enabled through a community use agreement. A total area of over 7 hectares will allow for an increase in the area of marked playing pitches that are currently provided for the military on site. This approach accords with the requirements of the existing Harrogate Borough Council planning policy. The illustrative master plan shows the location of playing pitches which could accommodate a range of different types and sizes of pitch. The final use and layout of the pitches delivered will be informed by the Harrogate Borough Council playing pitch strategy and in discussion with sports clubs. The wider recreation offer is equally important, and informal green spaces will be provided throughout the development. Creating strong green corridors builds on the vision for the site that was developed through early public engagement. These corridors will improve the site aesthetically, create a distinctive character, with a grid pattern providing views through the site and connecting with Laver Banks and the adjoining countryside. These corridors are roughly 30 metres in width and provide functional landscape and environmental corridors, which also include pedestrian, cycle and vehicular routes, as well as a sustainable urban drainage system for surface water storage and management. Making greater use of natural flood management methods both reduces risk of flooding, whilst also benefiting the environment through the creation of new and interesting habitats. Laver Banks will become an area similar in feel to a country park, allowing for the opportunity of a connection with nature, as well as providing opportunities for formal and informal play, walking and relaxation. This will provide access to an existing natural environment characterised by a wooded river corridor, plantations and grassed areas. This existing area will be managed and improved to enhance opportunities for ecology, whilst also accommodating playing pitches and corridors for movement. Such an asset in this location also provides for the opportunity for outdoor learning, and the forest school could be linked to the primary school. The overall Clotherholme project will deliver a 10% biodiversity net gain, an approach to development that leaves nature in a better state after development than before. Considerable care has been taken to understand the ecology of the site and ensure the correct balance of land uses. We've sought to retain areas of highest value, whilst also seeking opportunities for enhancement of areas of lower existing value. Any impacts will be mitigated as part of an ongoing strategy of landscape management. Allotments are provided in the northwest corner of the site and will encourage local food production, community spirit and increase the self-sustainability of the site. In conclusion, we feel the approach taken to the provision of green spaces will ensure a high quality functional environment which successfully balances competing objectives, delivers against planning requirements and will be a real benefit to Ripon. Thank you. I will now hand over to Peter Firth.
Thank you, David. My name is Peter Firth and I am a transport specialist with ACOM and part of the consultant team. I want to run through the work that we are doing to assess the transport impact of the proposed Ripon Barracks development and outline the measures proposed to accommodate walking and cycling, to introduce public transport into the development and to ease traffic for the benefit of existing and future residents of Ripon. The development proposal is now at the planning application stage, where our proposals update and refine the transport work done at the local plan stage. The National Planning Policy Framework and associated guidance needs to be considered when preparing the application. This has a presumption in favour of sustainable development and applies a standardised national approach to transport assessment. The NPPF requires the application to propose mitigation that is necessary to make the development acceptable in planning terms, directly related to the development, and fairly and reasonably related in scale and kind to the development. We are working closely with key transport stakeholders, including North Yorkshire County Council and Highways England, and have scoped our work with them to ensure that we are addressing the transport concerns in accordance with the key tests outlined above. The transport assessment document has been prepared in accordance with the current guidelines and will accompany the planning application. This includes the following information. 1. An evidence base to establish a sound baseline. Traffic data has been collected on 17 roads and at 13 junctions throughout the city. Counts were undertaken in June 2019 in school term time. Timed journey runs have been undertaken along several key routes throughout the city to measure delay. Parking observations have been made to quantify on-street parking demand, and audits have been made of road, walking and cycling infrastructure and public transport provision. This has established a sound, evidence-based baseline. 2. Flows for assessment. The development seeks to minimise vehicle trips. Firstly, the land use mix includes on-site employment opportunities, a primary school and a local centre to remove the need for some trips to leave the site. Secondly, the development is of a walkable scale, with almost all houses being within a 5-minute walk of the local centre. And thirdly, a network of attractive and safe pedestrian and cycle routes within the site will encourage active travel in preference to the use of the private car. Year 2035 has been selected as the year for assessment, when it is expected that the development will be fully delivered. Year 2035 flows have been derived by applying national growth rates to the 2019 baseline. In addition, traffic flows associated with 4 committed developments at Ash Grove, Bellman Walk, West Lane and Harrogate Road have been added. Finally, the traffic generation expected from the full implementation of the Ripon Barracks development site has been added to provide total flows for assessment for the weekday AM and PM peak hours in year 2035. 3. Analysis of transport networks. Cycling and walking infrastructure audits have been undertaken to identify where infrastructure improvements are necessary to connect the site to the city centre. Options to improve public transport connectivity and provide accessibility to city centre have been examined. Design capacity checks have been undertaken on 29 roads throughout the city. Junction capacity modelling has been carried out at 12 junctions throughout the city. This analysis, together with public consultation events, has allowed us to understand and identify the existing problems in the city and propose appropriate mitigation. 4. Proposed infrastructure improvements to make the development acceptable and policy compliant. Cycling and walking facilities are proposed along the Clotherholme Road, Park Street, Westgate corridor and the Kirkby Road, College Road corridor. These measures include on-carriageway routes for cyclists and pedestrian crossing and wider footpaths for pedestrians. A leisure-focused cycle and pedestrian route is also proposed through Laver Banks and along Galfie Lane to link to a network of existing paths and bridleways. The public transport proposal to link the site to the city centre is to extend the RS1 bus service into the site and significantly increase the operating frequency of the service from early morning to late evening. Improvements at 4 city centre junctions are proposed, which will accommodate the impacts resulting from the development and provide additional capacity for the wider benefit of Ripon residents. We believe the measures identified are necessary, are related to the development, and are proportionate to the scale of the development. They are in accordance with the infrastructure envisaged at the local plan stage and result in the development being a sustainable development. Homes England will be acting as the master developer for the Ripon Barracks site and will be involved right through to the full build out of the site. This should give you confidence that the measures we have proposed will be effective and will be implemented.
Thank you, Peter. So all the topics that we've just gone through are covered in more detail on the project website and come together in our master plan, which we have developed and refined since our engagement events last year. It's a balancing act to come up with a master plan which takes into account as many views as possible and provides a master plan that is fit for purpose and can be delivered over a period of time. We have worked hard to respond to what the community groups and community have told us, and we have made a number of changes as a result of that feedback. In particular, we've distributed space for employment, such as offices and workspaces, throughout the local centre to create a mixed-use modern space. The aspiration for Clotherholme is to create an innovation hub which offers flexible co-working space integrated with retail and residential uses, which can respond to emerging employment trends and can attract and retain local talent. We've introduced wider green routes throughout the site and increased the use of natural landscape features such as trees, open space and ponds to enhance the livability, sustainability and the quality of Clotherholme. We've also made greater use of natural rainwater management methods to reduce the risk of flooding. We've created a greater network of walking and cycle routes across the site, which will enable residents to access the site and encourage sustainable transport modes. This will make the site a more attractive and more sustainable place to live. We've changed the locations of the sports pitches so that they are closer together, forming a connected network that will support a greater number of opportunities for sports in Ripon. And we have moved the indicative location of the primary school to show it how it could relate to Laver Banks and how its playing pitch can relate better to the others on the site. And we've enhanced our work on the design guide to embrace Ripon's character as a place. And we will use this to ensure Clotherholme becomes a great place for existing and new residents. As mentioned earlier, we will be submitting an outline application for Clotherholme later this summer. Should this be successful, we will then look to appoint developers who will be required to work in accordance with the planning permission, including the guidance set out in the design guide. Construction will take a phased approach with site clearance beginning in late 2021 and construction beginning in summer 2022. Construction is anticipated to be completed in 2035. If you haven't already done so, we would encourage you to view the information boards on the website for further information on the proposals and to view the master plan in closer detail. We're not currently seeking feedback on our proposals, but we will be responding to questions received by the 22nd of July 2020. You can submit questions using the contact details on this slide. The next opportunity to comment on the proposals will be through the statutory consultation process when the planning application is submitted to Harrogate Borough Council. You will also be able to comment on the detail of the developments such as the local centre, the school, Laver Banks Country Park, design of the homes, etc. as these proposals are brought forward by a developer through future reserved matters planning applications, and I would encourage you to do so. Finally, I would just like to thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation, and we look forward to progressing our proposals and establishing Clotherholme as an exciting new addition to the City of Ripon and its residents. Thank you.